Kamala Harris just made a colossal mistake, and here are 7 things you should know about Tim Walz. Michael Snyder reports. What in the world was Kamala Harris thinking? There is a reason why the Trump campaign is so giddy right now. Kamala Harris could have had Josh Shapiro, but instead she picked Tim Walz. When I wrote that Kamala Harris has a tendency to really mess things up, I was not exaggerating one bit. This election is going to be decided by the swing states, and the most critical swing state by far is Pennsylvania. Whoever wins Pennsylvania is almost certainly going to win the presidency. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro has a 61% favorability rating in his state, and so he was seemingly the obvious pick. The following comes from CNN. Pennsylvania, on the other hand, is almost certainly a must-win state for Harris if she wants to be president. In fact, it's probably the most important swing state this cycle, and the polling there has been very tight. Shapiro currently holds a 61% favorable rating in Pennsylvania and outperformed Biden's 2020 baseline by 14 points in 2022. Whether that would have been enough to propel a Harris-Shapiro ticket in Pennsylvania this fall is a question mark, though political science literature suggests it very well could have. If the loss of Pennsylvania ends up costing the Democrats the White House, many on the left will be absolutely furious with Kamala Harris for making such a boneheaded choice. When Donald Trump learned that Harris had picked Walz, he issued a 2-word response. Trump took to Truth Social to deliver a 2-word response to Harris's choice for running mate. Thank you, Trump wrote in all capital letters. This was an enormous gift to the Trump campaign. So why didn't Harris pick Shapiro? Well, the truth is that many on the left were deeply concerned that he is Jewish and that he has a history of being strongly pro-Israel. Shapiro has been a staunch supporter of Israel for decades, dating back to his high school and college days when he wrote for a student newspaper at the University of Rochester. One opinion piece titled "Peace Not Possible" resurfaced in the newspaper last month. Palestinians will not coexist peacefully, Shapiro wrote. They do not have the capabilities to establish their own homeland and make it successful even with the aid of Israel and the United States. They are too battle-minded to be able to establish a peaceful homeland of their own, he said. In that article, Shapiro also said he had previously served as a volunteer in the Israeli army. There was apparently concern that having Shapiro on the ticket could cost Harris the state of Michigan if too many Muslim stay-at-home did not vote. With Walz on the ticket, that is not likely to be an issue. But if Harris does not win Pennsylvania, there's probably no path to victory for her. Of course, there is no going back now. Harris has made her choice, and everyone is going to have to live with it. The following are 7 things that you should know about Tim Walz. Number 1, in 2020, Walz presided over the BLM riots that result in large portions of Minneapolis being burned to the ground. Walz is a radical leftist who presided over the George Floyd riots in 2020 and ignored cries from across the state. Instead, he stated that a society does not put equity and inclusion first will come to this result. He even mocked Minnesota National Guardsmen as a bunch of 19-year-old kooks when asked why he rejected Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry's request to send them to the city. Number 2, Minnesota became a sanctuary state under Walz, and he has made sure that migrants are eligible for all sorts of free goodies. As governor, Walz has also signed several pieces of legislation to provide state-funded health care, driver's licenses, and free college tuition to illegal migrants. Ensuring drivers in our state are licensed and carry insurance makes the road safer for all Minnesotans, Walz said in 2023, after signing the bill to allow thousands of illegal migrants in a state with driver's licenses. Number 3, Minnesota also became a trans refuge state under Walz. Kamala Harris's progressive running mate, Governor Tim Walz, helped to transform Minnesota into a trans refuge state, signing legislation to protect gender-affirming care and to provide tampons in boys' bathrooms at schools. Walz, 60, a former high school teacher, signed the so-called Trans Refuge Bill into law April 2023, prohibiting the enforcement of out-of-state subpoenas, arresting warrants, and extradition requests for people who travel to the North Star state from other states for gender-affirming care. Number 4, the bill that Walz signed into law in April 2023 also allows Minnesotan authorities to take children from any parent that tried to prevent their kids from getting sex change surgeries. Number 5, it's being alleged that Walz quit the National Guard after he learned that his unit would be deployed to Iraq. Veterans have accused Minnesota Governor Tim Walz of embellishing his military career and abandoning his National Guard battalion, highlighting that the now vice presidential pick for the Democrats never served in combat and retired from service ahead of his unit's 2005 deployment to Iraq. In a letter posted to Facebook in 2018, as he first ran for governor, retired Command Sergeants Major Thomas Behrens and Paul Herr said Walz retired from his 24-year tenure in the National Guard after learning that his battalion would be deployed to Iraq, despite allegedly assuring his fellow troops he would join them. Number 6, many people do not realize this, but Walz actually considers himself to be a Lutheran. More specifically, he sometimes describes himself as a Minnesotan Lutheran. He says, because we're good Minnesotan Lutherans, we have a rule: if you do something good and talk about it, it no longer counts. Walz joked during a speech last spring, so what you have to do is to get someone else to talk about you. Number 7, it turns out that Walz has a very long history of being close to China. Walz, 60 years old, went to China straight after college through a program set up by Harvard University and taught in Guangdong province shortly after the Tiananmen Square massacre in Beijing in 1989. He would later honeymoon in China with his wife Gwen, bringing a group of 60 young people with them. In the 1990s, the couple set up a business which took high school students to China every summer for around a decade. Walz has been to China dozens of times, including on trade missions, and has called his experiences there amazing. The Harris-Walz ticket is the most liberal presidential ticket that we have ever seen. From a tactical point of view, I don't think that this is a smart move by the Democrats, but we shall see what happens. This is definitely going to be a close election, and whichever side loses is going to be extremely upset. In particular, if Trump wins, I think we will see a tremendous civil unrest all over this country. And now that Harris has picked Walz, I think that a Trump victory is even more likely. But a lot could still change over the next few months, and I have a feeling that several more major surprises are still coming. This is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. This is by Michael Snyder. About the author, Michael Snyder's extremely controversial new book entitled Chaos is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News. And he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times, and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.